Today we are going to start with a hyperbola, but we are first going to do a bit of revision of our grade 10 work. In grade 10 we said that we have a hyperbola if the denominator is equal to x. And we had y is equal to a over x plus q, where q was my vertical translation upwards or downwards. If q was positive, my graph would translate upwards, and if q was negative, my graph would translate downwards. Let's look at the effect of A. If A is positive, if A is greater than 0, then my graph, my hyperbola is going to be in quadrant 1 and quadrant 3. And if A is less than 0, if A is a negative value, then my hyperbola is going to be in quadrant 2 and quadrant 4. Good. Let's just recall what an asymptote is. An asymptote is the line that my graph moves towards but does not touch. And in this case, my asymptote will be it moves towards the y-axis. So my asymptote is the y-axis, and for the y-axis we say x is equal to 0. And it also moves towards the x-axis, and we say y is equal to 0. If I look at the domain and the range of a hyperbola, all the values of x will be included except for 0. And if I look at the range, all the values of y will be included except where y is 0. Now if I look at the next hyperbola, here we had a vertical translation downwards. So my asymptotes change. It moves towards y is equal to negative 3 from positive infinity to negative infinity. So what is my asymptote? The line that it moves towards but does not touch. So my asymptote is going to be y is equal to negative 3, and the other asymptote is going to be my y-axis, and that would be x is equal to 0. Let's look at the domain and the range. X is the element of all the real numbers, but x does not equal 0. If I look at my range, y is the element of real numbers, but it's not going to be negative 3. Now let's go and look at the axis of symmetry. It is my reflection line, my mirror line. So if I recall from grade 10, my axis of symmetry is going to be y is equal to negative x, and in this case it's going to be y is equal to positive x. If I look at this example, then my axis of symmetry will be ascending. My gradient is greater than 0 if it's ascending, and my gradient is less than 0 if it is descending. So what is this equation? This equation is y is equal to, the gradient is positive, it is x, and it passes through negative 3. That is my y-intercept. And in this case, it's going to be y is equal to negative x. It still passes through negative 3. The next thing we had to do in grade 10, they gave us the function. Y is the function, because for every x value, there's just one corresponding y value. And then they give us the function and they say find the asymptote. So in this case, what will the asymptote be? The asymptote is y is equal to 2 and x is equal to 0, because it moves towards y is equal to negative 2 and towards the y-axis. which is x is equal to 0. Find the equation of the axis of symmetry. Where will my axis of symmetry be? It will be here, sloping downwards. The gradient is negative, so y is equal to negative x, passing the y-axis, or the y-axis at 2, and it will be this one, which is y is equal to positive x plus 2. Y is x plus 2 and y is negative x plus 2. Find the values of x for which g is decreasing. Where will it be decreasing? It will be decreasing from negative infinity to 0, and again from 0 to positive infinity. What is the domain and the range? My domain will be x is element of real numbers, but it's not going to touch 0. And my range is going to be everything of all the y values except for y is equal to 2. If I look at the next thing that we had to do was we had to find the equation. So we are going to write the standard form first, which is y is equal to a over x plus q, and q will be your vertical translation. In this case, the graph moved down from the mother graph 3 units down. So it's going to be y is equal to a over x minus 3. And then we are going to substitute the point in that touches the hyperbola. So this is my x value and that is my y value. So we are going to have negative 4 is equal to a over 3 minus 3. So negative 4 plus 3 is equal to a over 3. So negative 1 is equal to a over 3. So negative 3 is equal to a. And it makes sense because my graph is in quadrant 2 and quadrant 4. So my equation will be y is equal to negative 3 over a minus 3.